Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video, we're going to make the 3D model of this head. To start with the modeling, first you need to have the front view and the side view of the same character. So I have them here. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to merge these two things into making one single picture where you have both the front view and the side view. Now, I have tried my best to make sure that the eyes in the left view and the eyes in the front view are in the same place, but they may not be 100% accurate. So we might have to work a little bit to make sure that fits perfectly fine. So once we have this picture ready, next thing we need to bring this inside Maya. So let's go to Maya, press the space bar to get the front view and the side view. We need to go into view menu and we have to go to the image plane option, which is actually not showing here. So I'm just going to take this out to show you where that option is. So there it is, image plane. So once we have image plane, let's go inside import image, and there it'll basically take us to the source images folder, and I have the picture here. Let me see. Yes, there it is. So I got that picture and click open. So once we do that, we have the image here, and we also need to bring the same image inside front view. So let's go again here to view. Down here you will find image plane and go to import image, and I'm going to pick the picture here, daughter of Akhenaten. Done. So once we have these two pictures, let's go to the perspective view. So now what we need to do is we need to push these images away from the center so that we can create the model in the center. So I'm going to select this, go down here, and we have these image center X, Y, and Z. We can adjust these. So first I want to push it towards the right side, so that would be Z axis. So let me just select the image center Z. I'm going to push it towards the right side or farther away. And next thing that I want to do is I'll do the same thing here. I'll select this guy. In this case, it is the image center X. So I'm going to push that back. So next thing we need to do is we can make sure that the views are matching up fine. So in this case here, it has to be the front view. So let me just move that front view to the center. So here we can check that the nose is actually coming, the middle of the nose or the mouth is actually on this grid line. That is perfect. I can do the same thing for this guy to bring the ear area to the center. So let me just go ahead and click on this x-axis and push it something like that. Okay, so now just to make sure that we put the model exactly on the grid, what we can do is we can also push this up in Y. So somewhere like that. And we can actually check the same number value here, that is 7.2, and we can give the same value to this y-axis also. So that's 7.2, so that it matches perfectly fine up here. Okay, so that's our first step done. So now what we need to do is we need to start making the model. Fine. So before we start making the model, I want to take the picture into Photoshop, and I'm just gonna give you a little bit of idea of how we're going to make this model. So let me open up the file in Photoshop. I generally start with the profile shape, and then I will make the rest of the model. So once we create a profile shape, it's going to look something like this. Okay, I'm just going to move this slightly to the right side so that it matches perfectly fine. Okay, so next thing that I need to do is I need to create a lot of patches. So let's say we will start with the eye. So that means like we can just draw something like this. Okay, and I will basically make a lot of different patches like this. Okay, so these patches will have connections like this. Okay, so once I finish one whole loop, I can just make that extend. So like this, if needed, I can add one here. Okay, okay, like so, like so. And while doing this, I also need to manage that to the three-dimensional shape by checking with the front view and the other possible views. Okay, so that becomes the second set, right? And I can also continue the same thing with the nose. As you can see, we've got these patches coming up. Okay, and I will also make the same thing for the mouth. And once we draw something in between these, we can actually connect them. Like so. And once we have these three different patches, all we need to do is just extrude from all these things and then combine them finally to make the entire patch. So once we finish one side, we can actually make the mirror to the other side. So while working itself, we can check how the other side is going to look. So this is basically the process that we're going to do in Maya. Okay, so let's start creating the model in Maya. So first we need to create the profile shape. To create the profile shape, I'm going to use the Create Polygon tools. We can get the Create Polygon tools by using the Shift key, right-clicking and choosing Create Polygon tools, or we can also get the Create Polygon tools by going to Mesh Tools, and there it is, Create Polygon. Click on that. We're going to start from somewhere about the eye area. Notice that we're in the front view. So somewhere from here. So 1, 2, 3. Now keep in mind, try to create as less number of points as possible, because we can create more points whenever we want. We can add points, but it becomes difficult for you to delete later. So try to create less number of points. So we can have more control over the model that we are creating. There you go. So I think I will end there. Let's get back here. So that's our center. And all I have to do is just make a simple extrude. So let's say select face, shift, right click, extrude face, and there we go. Just pull it slightly out. That's just the profile shape. So now once we have this, we don't need this inside area. So what I can do is just select all these three faces and delete them. All we needed was just this starting point. Looking good. So let's go ahead and see what we have. If you think the nose area is a little too big, we can push that slightly inside, like so. And this is basically showing this lip area, and that lip area is supposed to be somewhere here. Okay. So this is going to be basically the center area, and this can be a little bit down. Let's check out how it looks from the side view. So this is going down, this is there, that's perfect. So we can add more divisions later, that's not a problem. And now I will just start to get this basic shape of this lip here. So I will go ahead and select this edge, and just going to extrude that so that comes out. I'm going to take the vertex here, just push this down, take this vertex, push it down. So that basically starts to get the shape of the lips that we have here. Okay, now I'm going to select all these three vertices, go to the side view here, and we know that it needs to go a little bit backwards there. So that much should it go. That's looking good. Let me just go ahead and make a duplicate to the other side so that we can actually see what's happening compared with both the sides. So I'll go ahead and choose Edit, Duplicate Special. Let's go to Options, and I need to make the duplicate towards the Z-axis here. So I'll give here -1, and I'll make this as an instance so that when we make a change to one side, it will affect the other side. So let's go ahead and check that out. Yes, that looks perfectly fine. Now, just to add a bit more detail here, I'm going to add an edge loop here. So shift right click and choose edge loop tool, and then I will add that here. If I go to the front view, I can actually adjust that a little bit more. Let's just pull this up like so, keep this a little bit down. Okay, now just to finish up this area, I can simply extrude. Okay, so select that edge, extrude that edge, and I can just connect these two guys. I'm going to use the target weld tool to weld this vertex here. Okay, so this vertex is kind of like hanging in there, so don't worry, we can just fix it later. Okay, so once we got this much, the next step what we can do is we can actually extrude from here. So I'll go ahead and select this edge, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do an extrude here. So what will happen is I can just pull this out. Okay, so we're basically expanding the space that we have. So I'll just push this backwards like so. Okay, so I think that looks good. I can just push this one a little bit more back because it needs to come somewhere here. This one goes back. This one goes back. And this vertex is supposed to be attached to this here. So we can either weld it right away, or we can actually press V to snap, point snap to this point. And if we are just point snapping, it does not get merged with the other vertex. So if you want to merge it, you can use the weld tool, or you can just snap it and then select it, shift right click, go to merge vertex and choose merge vertex. So that's another method. So whichever way you prefer, you can do it. Now this point, I'm just thinking, should I attach it to that one or this one? Let's check the side view. I think I can attach it to that one. So I'll select this guy. I'm going to do a weld here this time. So select, shift right click, target weld tool, and then pick this guy and pick this guy and weld him there. Okay, so depending on the need, we can just push this up or down. Now keep in mind, all these vertices are not exactly in their final location. So we will, while we are modeling, we will actually change their positions, see what kind of fixes that we need to do, and whatever kind of fixes that needs to be done, we will have to do it. So just for this lip area, I can actually add one more set of edge loops, just to create a little bit more detail. So let's say insert edge loop tool. I'm going to add an edge loop like that. Okay, I'm going to select this edge, shift right click, and there should be slide edge. Yes, so I can just slide that edge over there. Just pull this out slightly like so. Now here's a little bit of challenge when you're just moving vertices in the perspective view. I generally recommend that you use just these axes to move them, okay, so that you'll have more control over which axis the vertex is moving. Otherwise, if you're just picking here and just moving, it might move in all the three axes and it might get into weird locations. So just be very careful on how you're moving that. You see what happened? So we need to be really careful about which axis we are moving these things. Okay, so I think we will keep the lips as it is, and we will start creating the eyes, and then we will move on to the other parts. So for the eye, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with create polygon tool as we did before. So I'll go ahead and choose right click, create polygon tool, and we're going to start with the eye. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now you can have more number of points if you want, but it's better to start with less, and then we can add later whatever extra number of vertices that you need. So once I've created this shape, now it looks black. That's actually because of the direction. So if you want to change that, you can just change the direction of the face that it's looking at. We can go to mesh display and choose reverse. So that will just make that brown here and black here. So sometimes when you do the extrude, it might get fixed automatically. So if it doesn't, you can just do the reverse direction. So I'm just going to double click on this edge. So it selects all the edge loop, and I'm gonna shift right click and choose extrude edge. So if I do that, and you can see now we're actually creating the entire shape that we needed. And I'm just gonna pick this, push him to where I want, push this guy, push him up, push this down, keep it like so. So that basically gets the basic shape. So once I get that, I can actually delete this inside face. Okay, so we also need to put him in the location that we want in our side view. So let's go to the side view. Where is it? Okay, there we go. So we have it right there. So that would be the center area. And now I will have to look at the front view and the side view, and then I will have to adjust them here. So let me just go to the vertices, and these two are in the back here, which needs to come all the way till here. So I'll go ahead and push this back, maybe slightly down. Okay, so this middle one has to be somewhere in the middle. So let's say select that guy and push him somewhere in the middle here. Now you can see that the front view and the side views are not exactly matching. So in this case, we have to just stick to one. If you just try to match with both of them, it will never happen. So let's stick to this basic shape, and we can just try to match up with the other one also. So this eye, the front one, also will go slightly inside. Okay, so that's basically the entire shape of the eye. Looking good. So once we have that, we can also do one more extrude this time, extrude edge, and it's gonna come out like so. So I think at this point it can start to touch here with the profile that we created. So or maybe I'll just draw one more. Let's see here. And I think I can just select this one and then push this a little bit backwards like so. And I'm thinking, I think I can just connect this guy directly here. So I'll press V just to snap it, because it's two different pieces. We cannot connect them together. Okay, I think that looks good. Now these are two different objects, so I'm just going to select both of them and I'm going to merge them. So combine. So once we combine, we'll actually lose the duplicate. We can get it back later, no problem. So select it, and because I did the combine, I will have to merge these two vertices. Merge vertices, done. Good. So now once we have that, we can also make the duplicate once again. So let's say duplicate special. So we get it in a different place. That's because we have a different pivot point now. Okay. So if the duplicate comes in a weird location, all we need to do is just change this pivot point. For that, we can either press D, or we can also press the insert key. You'll get this gizmo, and press X to snap to the grid. And then I just use this axis that I want. You can actually do it with the front view, which will be more accurate. I'll press insert once again to come out of that mode. That looks good. Let's go ahead and do the same duplicate once again. There you go. Okay, so that's just the basic skeleton kind of appearance. Okay, so now once we have done that, all we need to do is we need to keep on extruding and getting the shape done. So I'll go ahead and check here from the side view. We can actually use the other views, multiple views. I'll say select this guy and take this one, and I will have to push this closer here. Okay, Keep on checking in all the different views to make sure that the shape that we are creating comes out fine. Okay, so that looks good. And I think this eye also needs to go a little bit back. Yes. As you can see, here's the shape that's coming from, and I can actually pick this guy up a little bit. And this will need to go way low, like so. Okay, so make sure that you're checking in all the different views, even from the front view. I think this can go a little bit down. Now, if you're doing this for the first time, I know that it's going to be frustrating, slow, but once you make just one face, then you would love it. It becomes like a game that you play. Okay, so there you go. So with this, we will finish this first part. Stay tuned for the next part. Thank you.